Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. Hope you're all doing well. Because of the festival, the weekly Torah reading is suspended until after the holiday. So we'll read Parshat Achrei Mot on the 30th of this month. But this gives me a little bit of an opportunity to talk with you a little bit about Pesach. And so there's a popular saying that exists that I sometimes say, and I know a lot of my friends say, Ein simcha ele bevasar v'yayin. There is no happiness except through meat and wine. I know, right? And it's said that that saying comes from the Gemara, but it's not exactly true. It doesn't exactly say it just like that. In that particular phrasing. But let's look at what it does say for a minute. So the text where that likely comes from is in the Gemara, in the Talmud, in Masechet Pesachim, the tractate that deals with Pesach. And if you're interested, it's on page 109a. It says, Tanya, we learned in a Braita, Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera Omer, Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera says, Bizman shebeit hamikdash kayam, ein simcha ele bevasar. So in times when the temple is standing, there is no happiness except through meat. Why? Shene'emar, because it says, V'zavachta shlamim ve'achalta sham ve'samachta lifnei Adonai Elohecha. Right? So it's giving us a Torah verse says that you shall sacrifice your shlamim, your peace offerings, and you'll eat them there, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God. Right? That verse comes from the book of Deuteronomy. Text continues, Ve'achshav she'ein Beit HaMikdash kayam, and now that there is no more Beit HaMikdash, it's no longer standing, ein simcha ele beyayin, that there is only happiness now through wine. Shene'emar, again it says, Ve'yayin yismach levav enosh, that wine, it's wine that gladdens the heart of man, right? That's a verse from Psalms, all right? So what? Why am I bringing all this up? Well, first, because hopefully your Seder will feature a brisket or some kind of other meat, although don't do lamb. And of course, we have 4 cups of wine during the Seder, right? So these are, it seems appropriate, no? But if we dive a little bit deeper, we can learn a few things. So the text here obviously is connecting the importance of the sacrificial system, not only by talking about the meat, but also the wine, right? Obviously, the connection between the meat is obvious, right? It's, the animals were brought, they were sacrificed, there's the meat, it was given depending on what kind of sacrifice, either to the priests would eat it, or you would have some of it, depend on what kind, but also let's talk about the wine. The wine also is important in the sacrificial system. Why? Nisuch hayayin. The wine libations were offered as part of the daily Tamid offering. They accompanied the morning offering, the wine libations, where you would take a certain amount of wine and it would be poured onto the altar in a certain location. And while the wine was being poured, the Levites would start to sing the Psalm of the day, and it would complete the Tamid offering for the morning, right? So wine is an essential part of the rituals in the temple. And many echoes of those rituals have made their way to our tables at home, especially our Seder table. But if we take our homes today, are considered by the tradition to be mikdash me'at, a temple in miniature, right? So many of the rituals we do at our tables are done to remind us of the temple in Jerusalem. And this is clearly evident in the Seder, right? So the Seder as we know it today is an ancient practice that evolved from the eating of the Paschal offering, the Paschal sacrifice, which could only be eaten within the sacred precincts of Jerusalem, right? And so if you look at your Seder table, right, the Seder plate, there are 2 physical manifestations and reminders of the sacrificial system on your Seder plate, right? The shank bone, obviously, is a reminder of the Paschal lamb, but then also the egg, right? The egg on your Seder plate is a reminder of the Chagigah offering, the festive sacrifice that accompanied festivals. And these are physical reminders of the temple that are designed to make us remember the temple, Zecher Mikdash, right? Remember the temple and remember those ancient times. And in the minds of our ancient sages of blessed memory, supreme joy to them can only be experienced in Jerusalem when offering korbanot, when offering sacrifices. But in the absence of that, and it should only be a temporary absence, Bimhera b'yameinu amen sela, should be rebuilt, that through wine And through our homes and our Mikdash Ma'at, we can achieve a similar level of that sanctity that existed when our ancestors were Olei Regal, when our ancestors were pilgrims to Jerusalem. So I'll leave us with one final thought here. The Megillah that we read on Pesach is Shir HaShirim, the book of Song of Songs, which is long seen by the tradition as an allegory for the relationship between God and their people. And it says this, Haviani el beit hayayin v'diglo alai ahava. Right, he brought me into the house of wine, and his banner of love was upon me. Beit hayayin here is an allusion to the temple. It's a nod to the temple in Jerusalem, where again there was only supreme joy. The book of Shir HaShirim is full of verses about wine, because again, wine is a symbol of supreme joy, right? We see it at weddings, we see it at Shabbat, we see it at all of our festival offerings, all of our festival gatherings. Always wine is there, because ein simcha now, right? Ela beyayin, except through wine. So I hope that your Sidarim will be filled with learning, laughter, love, song, and yes, hopefully a little bit of meat and a little bit of wine. So Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. Hopefully we'll see you over the course of services for the holiday. Take care, folks.